Hello, hello. This is journal page 18, lesson 1.4, which was multiplying integers. So this is a little easier than adding and subtracting integers, a little more simple anyway. Remember the rule is here, same sign is going to be positive, different sign going to give it negative. So 8 times 9, that's 72. It's always been 72. But the rule is, since they're both positive, our answer is positive, but we already knew that. Number 2, 7 times a negative 7. Well, we ignore the signs for a moment, and 7 times 7 is 49. And then one of each, a positive and a negative, leaves us with a negative, so negative 49. Number 3, negative 10 times 4. Ignoring the signs, 4 times 10 is 40. And then one of each gives us negative, number 4. Negative 5 times negative 6. Ignoring the signs, 5 times 6 is 30. And this time, same sign. Even though they're both negative, it's same sign, leaves us with positive 30. Then we go to number 5. We have 12 times negative 1 times negative 2. Well, we can ignore the signs, and 12 times 1 is 12, but there's one of each, so that would give us negative 12 times negative 2. 12 times 2 is 24, and same sign now, so positive 24. Another way to look at it is 12 times 1 is 12 times 2 is 24, ignoring the signs, and an even number of negatives is going to give you a positive answer, okay? Because these two negatives will make a positive, and then it'll be a positive times a positive, which is a positive. Number 6, negative 10 times negative 3 times negative 7. Now, this one catches kids sometimes because they'll think, oh, all of these are negative, so our answer is positive. But remember, we just go 2 at a time. So negative 10 times negative 3. Ignoring the signs, you get 30, and they're the same sign, so it's positive 30. And now we multiply by the negative 7, and we get 30 times 7 is 210, but there's one of each now, so it'll be a negative 210. Number 7, negative 20 times 0 times negative 4. No matter how we do this, there's a 0 in here, so when we're all multiplying, I don't care what order you do it, it's going to be 0. Negative 20 times 0 is 0. 0 times negative 4 is 0. If you did negative 20 times negative 4 first and got a positive 80, times 0 is 0. So you got a 0 as a factor, it's going to be 0. Did I say 0 enough times yet? Negative 4 times 8 times 3. Well, 4 times 8 is 32, one of each, so it's negative, times 3. 32 times 3 is 96, and now we've got one of each, a positive times a negative, and that leaves us with a negative. And then we've got number 9, evaluate the expression. So remember, when we're dealing with these exponents, the exponent applies to exactly what it touches. This negative 8 in parentheses squared. The squared is touching the parentheses, meaning that's what we write twice, parenthesis, parenthesis, filled in with the negative 8. Okay, so it's the whole thing. Those parentheses keep that negative with the 8 when we square it. So we've got negative 8 times negative 8. 8 times 8 is 64, but we've got one of each here, making it a positive 64. Number 10 is a little different because now it's just touching the 11. Okay, that 2 is touching the 11. Here it was touching parentheses. Here it's touching the 11. So we've got the 11 is what is squared with that negative out front here. So negative 11 times 11. It does not apply to the negative because there are no parentheses. So now we've got negative 11 times 11. Well, 11 times 11 is 121, and we've got one of each, so it's negative. Okay? So if there are parentheses there, the negative stays with the number. If there aren't parentheses, it only applies to the number part. Number 11, 9 times -5 in parentheses squared. Well, remember, order of operations tells us we do exponents before we multiply and divide from left to right. So we'll do 9 times, this will be -5 times -5, which will be a positive 25. 9 times 25 is 225. Same sign, both positive, so it's positive. And then number 12, -2 raised to the third power, or cubed, times -6. Well, now it's touching parentheses, so that negative stays with the 2, so it's really -2 times -2 times -2. -2 times -2 will give you a positive 4 times this -2 still, this one. So 8 times -2 would give you a -8. Or you could look at it and say an odd number of negatives is going to give you a negative. Remember, an even number of negatives gave us a positive. Well, that -8 is just this part of the problem right here. So now we have -8 still times this -6. Negative times a negative is going to give us a positive, and 8 times 6 is 48. So positive 48. Last problem. You lose 5 points for every wrong answer in a trivia game. What integer represents the change in your points after answering 8 questions wrong? Well, it says you lose 5 points, so that would be a -5, and you did that 8 times. So 8 times -5 would be 40, but one of each, so -40. So what integer represents the change in your points after answering 8 questions wrong? -40 is the integer. All right, so multiplying with integers ended up being a lot easier than adding and subtracting, but we will continue to practice on the adding and subtracting as well. So have an awesome rest of your day.